Good evening. Welcome to the forum for the Waterloo Municipal candidates. We are pleased that you joined us tonight, and we are pleased that we have candidates here tonight. My name is Jean Seelan. I am a member of the League of Women Voters, and I will be a moderator. And
I am Cam Turner.
Cam is from,
I am from Waterloo, and I'm a member of the NAACP.
and tonight's forum is sponsored by both the League of Women Voters of Blackhawk and Bremer and the NAACP. Let me just explain to everyone what the procedure will be tonight. We are going to allow the candidates to have some opening statements. And then after that, we have prepared two questions that we're going to ask you. And while the candidates are answering the questions, we're asking the audience to please write your own questions. The questions will be screened by Pat Harper, and we want to find out what you want to know about the candidates. Our timer tonight is Jerry Hagman. You will have 2 minutes. So please look at Jerry as you are speaking. What I'd like to do right now is just to have all of the candidates, let's go around the table, and if you would each say your name and what position you're running for.
Ashley Chappelle, and I'm running for City Council at large.
Jonathan Greider, I'm running for City Council at large.
Steve Simon, I am also running for City Council at large.
Mayor Quentin Hart, and I'm seeking another term as mayor for the city of Waterloo.
Wayne Natham, running for mayor for Waterloo, Iowa.
Belinda Creighton Smith, Ward 4 councilperson running for Ward 4.
Sarah Cheverny, running for Ward 4 City Council.
Dave Boson, at-large city council person currently running for Ward 2.
Sure. All right, at this time, we will have opening statements, and we will start to our left, your right, and they have 2 minutes, right? And
Yes.
Ms. Chappelle, you will go first.
Hello, you guys. I'm Ashley Chappelle, and I'm a young mother and a wife of 6 kids. I'm out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I had really wanted to start running for city council due to my situation. I was recently homeless, and what really started from homeless to mental health issues from postpartum depression, and I really didn't have the right outreach to get me to where I needed to be. So I strive to get where I am today, to be here in this seat where I'm at. I'm a phlebotomist, a CNA, culinary art, cosmetology. I'm very hands-on with the community, and I've been getting door to door. It's been a task, but I'm here today, and I'm ready for whatever fight I gotta fight. Win or lose, I'm hands-on with Waterloo, and I'm gonna definitely be an advocate in the community.
Thank you. Mr. Grinder.
Yes, I'd like to first start by thanking the League of Women Voters and the Blackhawk County NAACP and all the folks who came out to see us both here and online. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a high school history teacher, and I also have the privilege of, for the last 3.5 years, serving on the Waterloo City Council. What I'm bringing to the at-large position is years of experience of getting the things accomplished that need to be accomplished, of pushing for changes that make sure that everyone is included in our community, not just those that have always been connected. As someone who spends every day helping kids build their own futures, I am very dedicated to building a Waterloo that is better, not just a year from now, not just 5 years from now, but decades from now as we move well into the 21st century. That means having a robust, vigorous leader who's ready to do the work, who knows how to get things done, because that's what the at-large council position is all about, and that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Mr. Simon.
I too want to thank the NAACP, the League of Women Voters, for hosting this forum, also for the camera people and the production crew. I'm Steve Simon. I'm running for Waterloo City Council at large. I was born and raised here in Waterloo. Grew up on the east side in the neighborhood of Greenbrier. Graduated from Columbus in class of '84. Went to UNI and played slow pitch softball for 36 years at Hoeing Rice Softball Complex. This developed into a career as a dental technician, which I have done now for 37 years. The last 20 years, which is an owner of a small dental lab called Eclipse Dental. Currently have 16 employees. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Amy, father of 3 wonderfully talented children, the youngest of which is a sophomore at West High. I recently was blessed to become a papa of a rapidly growing 7-month-old grandson. My mom, Darlene, who is the ultimate pillar of strength for myself and our family, is currently 89 years old. My dad, who passed away 11 years ago after a battle with cancer, was my best friend and taught me work ethic and treating people with respect. My mom likes to mention how he worked 42 years and never missed a day at work. That strong work ethic was instilled in me by my father, has helped me as a small business owner, and I believe I can bring some financial scrutiny and business sense. That, along with common sense approach and lifelong lessons I have learned as a citizen of Waterloo, will benefit this council. I am not a politician. I'm a normal person just like you. As your councilman, I will answer your calls, emails, and answer your needs. I will be your voice on this council for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Mr. Hart?
Yes, thank you so much to the League of Women Voters and to the Blackhawk County NAACP and to everyone that's here this evening. I am Quentin Hart, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, and born and raised in the City of Waterloo, attended public schools here within the city. My mother is Lily Hart, who worked at Allen Hospital, and my father is Grocie Hart, who worked at John Deere. And this is the first debate forum that I've ever had in my life where my father is not there somewhere slapping the TV, hollering at someone that said something. But yet and still, everything that I have, I owe so much to the city of Waterloo. I owe so much to my family that has embedded an incredible work ethic, a sense of treating people correctly, and making sure that I approach this position in a manner of selflessness. I am so appreciative for the opportunity to have served 4 terms as mayor, but also to serve as a city councilman as well. So I'm looking forward to the conversation this evening, and I believe the next question will talk about why we need to be supported. So I will wait to talk about those things at that time. But my wife is Cassandra Hart, and I have 3 children as well, 18, 16, and a 11-year-old that's going on 15 as well, my daughter. So very thankful to be serving and representing all of you and my family.
Thank you. Mr. Nathan?
Good evening, everyone. I too would like to congratulate the NAACP of Blackhawk County and Bremer League of Women Voters for inviting me to participate in the Waterloo Municipal candidates. I'm going to give you a little bit of rundown of what my resume would be for the last 43 years. For the last 43 years, I owned and operated several successful businesses. For 23 of those years, I owned and operated CBC Freight. CBC Freight was a long-haul trucking company. The last 14 years, I hauled for Birch Cabinet from Waterloo throughout the U.S. Prior to that, for 10 years as Iowa Crating Packaging, doing specialized crating and packaging for John Deere. And I also, prior to that, for 10 years in the excavating business and construction business, putting in water, sewer mains for various municipalities, also doing concrete work. Now, a lot of this stuff that I've done, if it was not for my kids' help, I would never been able to succeed. My daughter, Sarah, is here tonight. She lives in Sacramento, California, but she's back here working on some classes through Iowa and so forth. She also, throughout the years, just recently, has obtained her doctorate degree in emergency management. But like I say, if it wasn't for my kids, I would never have been able to succeed because they've always been a part of it. And they brought it to my attention recently that I also taught them how to work. And they are all good workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Smith?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters and to the Blackhawk County chapter of the NAACP. I'm delighted to be here. I must admit that I talk a lot, but this is one of those situations where I haven't been in too often. And so it's new for me, so I might tremble a little bit. but I'm pleased to serve. I'm really honored and blessed to be here. I am really honored to have been selected by the community to serve them in the I guess, Councilperson Jerome Amos went to the State House, and so the community decided that I could come to the City House. But I am grateful that the people believe in me and that have called me to this position, and I truly believe it is a calling. I am a wife. I have 4 living children. I have to say I have a miniature schnauzer named Kobe, because if I don't, he'll be very angry. I miss my cheerleader, just trying not to think about her, because she instilled in me a desire for people and to work on making sure I make the world a better place than I found it. So I'm really grateful for that. I've been, because of her tutelage and guidance, she was passionate about social justice and equity her entire life, instilled that in me, and gave me the capacity to stand up and speak for what I believe in as well. So I'm honored to be here and to serve you again, I hope.
Thank you. Mrs. Chevernay.
Shervany.
Shervany.
It's okay. Good evening. And I would also like to thank our moderators for facilitating tonight's forum, along with its sponsors, the NAACP of Blackhawk County and the Blackhawk Bremer League of Women's Voters. It's an honor to be here tonight as a candidate representing Ward 4. Waterloo in the Cedar Valley has been a place I have called home for more than 26 years. It's the place where I graduated from both high school and college with my English degree from University of Northern Iowa, the place where I started and expanded my career, and the place where I met my forever friends. It is also the place where I chose to live and raise my children, who are 18 and 11 going on 15 as well. So Waterloo is home. I am proud of this city and all that it encompasses, with its high level of diversity, its forward-thinking vision, and the commitment to growth. I look forward to the opportunity to be the voice not only for Ward 4, but for all citizens of Waterloo as we continue pressing forward in the quest for Waterloo to reach its full potential.
And Mr. Bolson.
Well, thank you. I'm Dave Boson. I'd like to, as everyone has said, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the NAACP, our moderators, everyone that's viewing this. I want to thank my family. I've got 3 kids. I want to thank my wife because she's my sounding board and she allows me to vent. And if anybody's been on the city council or in these positions, there's times that you need to vent. But most of all, what I want to thank is the 7 people up here. The courage that it takes to be here tonight, to run for public office, to put yourself out there in front of the people, and the strain it puts on you for the time that you have for campaigning, the strain it puts on your family. I'm proud to be up here with all of you because I know what it takes to be here, and I know what it takes to get to this position, and thank you for making that sacrifice. I've been on the city council for almost 4 years as your at-large representative. I am currently running in Ward 2. I spent over half my life in public service. I spent 28 years in Waterloo Fire Rescue, moving up from firefighter to battalion chief. I retired from there. I spent 6 years working for the Waterloo Police Department and the last 4 years for the council. I'll be 67 in December, and I've devoted 38 years of my life to public service and to this community. And I will continue to be that representative, to answer those phone calls, to return those emails, to deal with the public's problems, not just in Ward 2, but also in the entire city if you're having issues. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Before I ask the first question, I want to remind the audience that now is the time to write your questions. We would be happy to ask your questions. Okay, question number 1. What are your 2 highest priorities for the city of Waterloo? And we'll start with Mr. Wright.
Thank you so much. So having been on council for the last 3.5 years, it's really opened my eyes into how we can make a difference every day. The two biggest priorities for me is we need to be working at attracting young folks back to the Cedar Valley. I know that we were disappointed in how the 2020 census went, but we need to be having conversations with our business partners, with our nonprofit field, with others, and how we can attract young folks back to the Cedar Valley. I talked to young alum that I had in class who are just a few years out of college, and they would love to come back to the Cedar Valley. They would love to make this their home. But they need to have careers that can sustain them and from which they can build a family and build a life and build a career. So we need to keep having those conversations and keep working to attract the things that bring young folks back into the city. In addition, we need leaders who are going to be willing to represent everyone in Waterloo, not just those that make us feel comfortable or who look or sound or act like us. On council, I have been very proud to have been part of some very big fights to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table of power here in Waterloo. And that is absolutely critical in a community as diverse as ours, that we make sure that those voices are heard, that action is taken to help lift them up as well as everyone else. And that is my key priority as well moving into the next 4 years.
Thank you. Mr. Simon?
I believe one of the two highest priorities are one of them is the housing issues. We have an overabundance of rundown, dilapidated housing. They bring down property values in the neighborhoods and demoralize the community. I believe we can find new and creative ways to improve ownership in Waterloo. Nothing is more empowering and self-rewarding than owning your own home and taking care of your own home. We can work with Habitat for Humanity and other organizations and make home ownership possible for more people. This can build our tax base, increase property values in every neighborhood. In doing so, we bring a sense of pride back into the city. At the same time, we add value and increase our tax base. And that allows us to reinvest into the community, those dollars back into the community. The other top priority should always be support for our first responders and the city of Waterloo's workforce. A safe city is a happy city. From day one of my campaign, I have stressed my full support of Waterloo's first responders. We have the best police department. We have the best fire department, EMTs in the state of Iowa, and their response times are incredible. The safety these fine men and women provide us is without parallel. We need to keep them funded and keep their equipment updated. Our city workers deserve city managers that have their backs and support them. As your councilman and their councilman, I will always do just that.
Mr. Hart?
Right. I would probably say one of the first priorities is our ability to be able to manage our current level of funding within our city budgets, given the budget impacts that are taking place on our state level. We've had, I think it's about $1.2 million that have been reallocated on the state level. That was part of our city budget. We've had changes in property values for multifamily residences, which have had an overwhelming impact to our overall city budget. But being able to deal with the challenges and the work with the state while maintaining current and better services would be one of the first challenges. The second one is continuation of maintaining an incredible infrastructure. And when I mean infrastructure, I'm talking about our roads, I'm talking about our bridges, I'm talking about the housing infrastructure within the city of Waterloo, and making sure that we have an infrastructure that's going to carry us into the next 20 years, and also an infrastructure that no matter where you go within the city, you can see some type of opportunity, some type of infrastructure advancement, and some type of infrastructure support to deal with nagging issues that we had failed to deal with over the past 20, 30 years that we have to deal with now.
Thank you. Mr. Nathan?
Waterloo has some of the highest property taxes within the state. When Mayor Hart took office, our property taxes were 16 plus per thousand, and today it is 19.75% per thousand. That's quite an increase. I will work to try and lower that down to either maintain or lower that down to a reasonable, maybe 16% again. Also, as Mayor Hart took office, our bonding was at 90 million. Today it is $151 million. That is uncalled for. We got to take and reduce that bonding, and I will work very diligently to take and bring that down. We got to take and start bonding less, but yet maintain our services within Waterloo. And this can be done. I'll be a watchdog, and I will work very, very hard to do diligently to bring this down to an acceptable level. Another area that I would take a look at is with our TIF, tax increment finance. Changes need to be made there. At the present time, when people come in, they're given like a sweetheart deal. They don't start paying taxes till 18, 19th, and 20 years. And that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed so they start paying taxes sooner, like perhaps maybe 5 years and 10 years. And by doing so, we'll be helping the people of Waterloo bring their taxes down and to acceptable levels. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
My two top priorities, and it's hard to discern just two, come up with just two. But the first I would say was to continue to build on the economic capacity of our city and viability of our city, to continue to work towards not only building the infrastructure, but to also expand it so that every home has the capacity to be successful financially, providing whatever the educational support, housing, support, development, and et cetera, developing the roads as I've done in the neighborhoods, our community, continue to provide that service to the least of these, the retired widow or widower, and as well as the mother with the children, and trying to balance and juggle two jobs and their children at the same time. So build the economic capacity of the community. The second is to bridge Waterloo, the east side and west side of Waterloo, so that it's equitable, so that there isn't a disparate difference between the two. What's amazing is that we're doing great things in the city of Waterloo, and I want those great things to transcend the entire community, so that the east side of Waterloo is not looked at as the bad side of Waterloo. I've born and raised in Waterloo. I've been here since I was 3 years old, but this is the only home I've known. I'm not going to say how old I am, but I've been here a very, very long time. And so I know what the community needs. And so to build the community and to bridge the community together as one Waterloo instead of that Waterloo and this Waterloo.
Thank you. Ms. Gervany?
As a mother, my children and their safety are always at the forefront of my mind. Reducing and eliminating gun violence in our neighborhoods will be my top priority. So far for 2023, there have been approximately 40 to 50 crimes committed where guns were suspected. If you look at the shooting that took place this week on Mulberry, 2 of those individuals are 15 and 17 years old. Because of this, I will work diligently with local, state, and federal agencies to create protocols to reduce illegal gun ownership and usage. And although this definitely is a national issue, I believe, excuse me, I believe that it starts at the state level. I believe that I believe that prevention and expectations start at home. It starts with solid parenting, sufficient child care facilities, solid education, as well as an instilled belief that arguments can be resolved over conversation rather than retaliation. I commit to addressing the need for efficient and affordable parenting resources, as well as safe and affordable child care solutions. I will work with local agencies for possible expansion of safe, affordable, and fun after-school activities. I will also continue to encourage our school administrators and staff to hold our children to a standard of excellence, while counting on parents to enforce the same expectations at home. Shifting gears, I will also be dedicated to the removal and rehabilitation of many dilapidated homes within Ward 4 and throughout the city. Building up these properties will not only help improve our tax base and ease the burden of the general fund, but instill a level of pride and ownership for our residents. I feel that we can do a better job marketing these properties to developers, not only for rehab opportunities, but new constructions. It is also imperative to have any potential developers in our area work with a point person within our planning and zoning staff to streamline the process and help clear the obstacles that they may face.
Thank you. Mr. Boson?
Thank you. As Sarah said, all government starts at a local level, and it all starts right here, city and county. And as the mayor mentioned, that one of my priorities is similar to his, staying within our budget, keeping our budget under control. And it's taxes, plain and simple. Waterloo is we were like fifth, now we're eighth largest city out of the top 15, and we're 13th in our ability to tax. So that really plays puts a lot of stress on us to provide the service, because we have more square miles than most cities in the state that we have to plow, protect, police and fire. So we've got to maintain our budget and work within it. Now, keep in mind that we are the highest tax levy of the top 15 cities. But when you look at those top 15 cities, a large number of those cities use a portion of their local option sales tax for property tax relief. I mean, cities like Dubuque use 50%. Now, I'm not campaigning on what's happening at this next election as far as local option sales tax, but I urge you, November 7th, to vote for the city of Waterloo to allow us to use 20% of our local option sales tax for property tax relief and to assist our budget. I think it'll go a long ways, and I really would appreciate that. And the other one is public safety. And when you think of public safety, you think of police and fire department. Public safety in the city of Waterloo is all encompassing. It truly is. It encompasses a number of different departments. But our police and fire department make up almost 80% of our 810 levy. And so we have to provide strong public safety. We have to be able to have an outstanding fire department, an outstanding police department, especially our police department, to deal with the amount of gun violence that we're dealing with, each and every day or weekly. But yet we also have to find ways to stay within this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will start with Mr. Simon with this
Well,
question.
we're gonna start.
You
saved the best for last. No,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Nah, you know what? It's okay. But thank you anyway for the opportunity to speak. But my first thing would be safety for sure. But honestly, it'd be community and youth, prosperity, growth. I feel like the youth is really our future. So we really need to work on that. And of course, it'll be the gun violence, but in order to use a gun, they have to be the person. So we have to work on the humans and their mental health. It'll be my second one. Will be mental health and homeless prevention and awareness, because a lot of that honestly comes with a lot of backlash, a lot of outbursts in the community. And honestly, me personally, I would be hands-on and working to help a lot of people with stability, because a lot of people don't even know what a tax is or a credit or, responsibilities. And me being a young person, I would like to reach out to the younger community and bring them in and let them know it's not always a problem if you're doing something positive. It's better to do something positive than to do something negative. So me being here, I want to reach out to a lot of youth and show them the way, like lead them the way. Be a leader.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got everybody, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You do. Don't be afraid to yell at us if we do something wrong.
Mr. Simon gets to answer this question first. Why are you the best person for this role?
Our city is going to face some financial challenges. Already on our next budget, we will be $5 million in the red, and we run out of COVID money to help us. This council could use some fresh eyes and a new perspective from a small business owner. To take Waterloo into the future, it's going to take more proactive thinking and more creative ideas. We will have to adapt and market ourselves to incoming businesses and people. I think sometimes our city leaders are more reactive than proactive. To overcome our financial challenges, we may need to consider insourcing certain services that we are contracting. When in our best interest, maybe share services with Cedar Falls in the county, Blackhawk County. Try to retire the debt in our TIFs where it makes sense. Secondly, it's going to take someone who has a strong ties to this area and take Waterloo into the future. someone who understands our citizens and has lived our history and our traditions. As a lifelong resident, Waterloo has offered me so many opportunities. I drove a not-so-cool car or two on every street in this town. I've enjoyed Waterloo Bucks, Blackhawk games, going back to when McElroy Auditorium was where they played. I've coached baseball and basketball for my church's grade school. I played softball with some of the best people in the world and built and developed lifelong friendships and relationships. That's just a few of the things I've done in this great city. The diverse friends I've met and the relationships I've made in the last 75 or 57, well, not 75 years, 57 years in Waterloo is immeasurable. People that know me know I'm a competitive person, a team player who will fight to the end to help our team win. Waterloo is my team, and I will help us win every day that I serve on this council. I believe I am the right person.
Mr. Hart?
Right. A very good question. So I don't want to necessarily compare myself to anyone else, but what I'd like to do is talk about what we've been able to see over the last just couple years versus the entire 8. But one, the city of Waterloo, when I started, inherited a consent decree. And since that time, we have been able to allocate more than $90 to $100 million towards fixing our treatment plant. And some of you remember, there were sewage backups in particular parts of this community, and so we've been able to mitigate some of those challenges. We've been able to hold businesses accountable in areas where contamination had taken place and began the remediation process for making sure that our citizens have a safe community. We've talked about for the last 20 years about whether or not this fiber journey, we can make that happen, and we've been able to leverage to find more than half of those dollars to be able to make this a reality for the entire city. We've been able to take a look at crucial bridge projects like the 11th Street Bridge and the Park Avenue Bridge, where we didn't know where we would get the money from, but we were resourceful and we worked hard. And we're almost at the point within a year where we'll see those bridges brand new and erected in our local community. We inherited a convention center that was left in distraught because we failed to take care of general maintenance and all those things that belong because we didn't want to add to some parts of our tax burden. And so if you take a look at what I've been blessed to do with our local city council and with the determined city staff, we have moved this community forward within the past several years, probably more than we have within the last 15 to 20. And so I'm blessed to be a part of that. And we have seen very incredible movement in so many different areas.
Thank you. Mr. Nathan?
Would you repeat the question again?
Yes, why are you the best person for this role?
Okay, throughout my 43 years in business, I learned a lot, and the skills that I learned in these business, I will bring with me and will be paramount as mayor for Waterloo. In businesses, there are always problems that need to be solved. Sometimes some of them are big and some of them are small. I pride myself for being a problem solver, and as a business owner, you also have to be a workhorse in order to succeed, or if not, you may fail. Now, I can bring all these, and I feel like being a workhorse for Waterloo, and so forth. I attend many council meetings. I understand a lot of the problems that Waterloo is facing, and I will tackle these problems as they come up. I just feel like there's many things that we can improve on, and we need someone else that will be successful and workhorse sitting in the chair of Waterloo. And I can bring these skills, and I can do the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I know that I'm the best person for the job because I am a people person. I've served my entire life. There hasn't been a part of my life that I have not served, from in the Army Reserves to campaigning with individuals running for office to serving as a professor at the university or an adjunct faculty professor at the university to pastoring a church to not only rearing a family but advocating on behalf of the community and the neighborhood and the city, being available to those who need, who have a question, who have something that's major or simple. It doesn't matter because they have a need. So I've spent my life serving the community, serving people, and people know that, and I will continue to do that. I feel very strongly about where we're headed. I'm very happy for what I'm seeing. Just got in on the ground floor a little bit ago. Have much work yet to do in the city, serving on the city council. The vision is larger. The vision that we have for 2030 encompasses a lot of the things that I desire to take place for Waterloo, to make it the kind of place where everyone succeeds and not just some and others are left behind. I've worked in the capacity not only in community service with the children suffering from removal from homes, but I've worked on the side of being national faculty for Casey Breakthrough Families Initiative. So I mean, I've just done enough to bring this knowledge to the table and to begin to continue to consider the needs of all people with various varying problems and issues to this council and consider them as we're making decisions.
Thank you. Ms. Charbonnet?
I feel that I'm the best candidate for this role because I bring with me nothing but the desire to work hard and make decisions based on what is right for the city of Waterloo. I'm not afraid to challenge processes and procedures that I do not agree with, or to ask for clarification over areas that I do not understand. I am committed as a mother, a professional, and a fellow citizen of Waterloo to put in the work that it takes for the true betterment of our city. I am committed to consistently learn and engage with other city officials while keeping our end goal in sight.
Thank you. Excuse me, Mr. Boson.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that I'm in my position. Of course, it's a little different because I don't have competition in this election. But so it's hard to say that I'm the best person, but I feel I am.
One person.
I've dedicated, as I said it earlier, almost just shy of 38 years of my life to public service, and public service to the citizens of Waterloo. I believe I have a proven track record on this council in the last 3 years and 8 or 9 months. I answer emails, I answer return phone calls. You know, the thing about being on the city council sometimes is when someone is having difficulty navigating things through the city and they contact me, it's 1 or 2 emails or 1 or 2 phone calls and the problem's resolved. And that's an incredible feeling to be able to help people. I think we're on the right track, but like I said, half my adult life I've been working for the city of Waterloo and serving the citizens, and I'm proud to serve for them. I'm proud of the work I've done on the fire department, the years I spent there. I was a firefighter, EMT, paramedic, medical officer, arson investigator, fire marshal, and battalion chief. I was the first accelerated detection canine handler in the state of Iowa. We brought that program in. It was an incredible program that really assisted law enforcement. I'm a graduate of the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. I went to the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in 1997. I finished top in my class at 40 years old, so I was pretty proud of that, But I really have enjoyed thank you, Jerry. I really have enjoyed my last almost 4 years on the council, and I will continue to work for each and every one of you as hard as I have in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Chappelle?
I just want to say thank you guys for having me here again. But I'm the best person for the job because I'm a very dedicated and hardworking person. I'm a full-time content creator. I've been doing that for about 2 years, and just reaching out to people in the rural alone and just helping people throughout a lot of communities. I feel like, why not? I cannot do that in my community. Like, I could be here hands-on and giving that attention that they need, a phone call, email, whatever it is. Even if I have to go out by foot, I will do that. But I also want to just be a role model. I honestly want to be the voice for others and honestly set an example for everybody. Like, it's not about how you do or where you've been. It's honestly about where you're going. So my thing is straightforward. I'm honestly, win or lose, I'm here for Waterloo. I may not be from Waterloo, but that doesn't mean nothing because this is home. Look, this is home. So y'all gonna be seeing a lot of me, win or lose. But I'm a very hard worker. I was a CNA when I was the top of my class. I actually went to high school, but I tested out 5 tests. I was done. After that, I went to CNA early. I was 17 and a half. Did CNA, I went to phlebotomist. From there, I went to cosmetology. From cosmetology, I went to culinary arts, also a bartender. I'm a little bit of everything, so I like to be example for everybody. It ain't no such thing as can't. You could do anything you set your mind to. You just have to believe in yourself. When you believe in you, a lot of people believe in you. So I'm the best person for this position because I'm a voice and I'm a voice for all, and I'm going to be very direct and hands-on with the community.
Thank you. Mr. Grinder?
Yes, thank you so much. So, like I said, I've been very blessed over the last 3.5 years to serve on the city council and to be able to accomplish a great deal with my fellow city councilors hitting the ground running in January of 2020. When I set my mind to a goal, it gets accomplished, whether that is making sure that parents have access to changing stations in public facilities so that they can take their kids out and help boost the local economy, whether that's working with our fire department to make sure that we can apply for federal grants to make sure that we can keep Station 6 more fully staffed so we stop having to round it out, whether it's working with the police department to make sure that we hit the highest level of staff in the police department since 2016. It's working with the library to make sure that they get enough funding to remain accredited so they can serve not only as a place where children and adults can check out books, but where folks can get help with resumes and job applications and a place that they can go to that feels like a community. I've answered over 10,000 emails. I've answered over 5,000 phone calls. I've made hundreds of visits with constituents to look at everything from down trees to flooding, to solving simple issues like changing stop signs to yield signs, to tackling big issues like gun violence and the child care deserts that we face in this community. I have been proud to vote for things that bring this community together, whether it's the 2 bridges that we are working so diligently to get done, or it's opening up a new grocery store in an area that hasn't seen those investments in longer than my lifetime. I have a strong track record of accomplishing the things that not only my constituents want, but make this city better. And that is what I plan on bringing for the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now questions from the audience. First question, we're going to start with Mr. Hart. Many people in our society are becoming marginalized because of a number of reasons: faith, gender, sexual orientation, and so forth. Does the city government have a responsibility to protect those who are most vulnerable?
So the short, quickest answer is absolutely yes. The challenge that we've had, though, is trying to offer protections, but also work within the parameters of state and federal governments as well. But I believe that we must. If you take a look at our ability to take a look at contaminated areas where they have been left, I think it's our responsibility. I think when you take a look at some of the surveys and polls that we on, like the city being voted one of the worst in the entire United States for African Americans to live at, I believe that the city must partner with others to make sure we take an affirmative role to make those corrections. But absolutely, yes, it is our responsibility to be able to support those protections.
Thank you. Mr. Nathan?
The answer is yes. The citizens of Waterloo need to work together for a better Waterloo, and no matter what side of town that you live on, whether it's let's not continue saying east side, west side, north side, south side. We're all one community, and we need to take and address that and say we're one community. Also, the protection for the city, we need to take and do a better job to protect the citizens of Waterloo. We've had a lot of gun violence here in the recent time. The police, I think, do a tremendous job of going out and doing their job. But we need to also make sure that the police and the fire have the necessary tools to do their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yes, I'm going to ask you to repeat the question, please, if you
Yes.
don't mind.
Many people in our society are becoming marginalized because of a number of reasons: faith, gender, sexual orientation, and so forth. Does city government have a responsibility to protect those most vulnerable?
Yes, we have a responsibility to protect the freedoms of all human beings, and particularly those who tend to be oppressed and marginalized. Um, at the same time, we do have to operate within the constraints that are available to us or that are before us, making sure that we're operating within the system, or, if necessary, challenging the system for the betterment and the safety of individuals. For example, those who have been oppressed and scrutinized and challenged because of their sexual orientation, or those that are African American, Latinx, BIPOC individuals, because of the tension that exists, the racial tension that exists in our society. Oftentimes, those individuals get the brunt of the anger and the hatred. So we have to put protections in place to protect the freedoms of individuals and to protect the safety of individuals that are oppressed and marginalized, to ensure that they have an opportunity to succeed and to have a quality of life without being afraid of something that could happen to them because of who they are.
Thank you.
I definitely feel that that is something that we, as a local government, need to address. I think that everyone has the opportunity to live their life the way that they see fit, and we have to have avenues for everyone to be protected, for them to be able to live their lives with, whether it be their gender, their religion, their race. Everyone should have the same opportunities.
Thank you.
The city of Waterloo has an obligation and a duty to protect all their citizens, but especially our marginalized and most vulnerable. All one has to do is watch a city council meeting, see the people that come up each week and talk about problem landlords that they've made a complaint and they were evicted and now they're homeless. We have an incredible homeless problem here in Waterloo. And we're reaching and moving into the months that these people, our most vulnerable people, are even more vulnerable. We only have limited space and shelters. Just recently, it was I believe last week, a group of downtown merchants and people got together to discuss the homeless issues. We have, as a city, we have an obligation to assist and address those issues. Our LGBTQ community, our homeless community, our minority communities, we have, Jonathan could probably speak to this, but I'm sure we have over 25 to 30 languages.
37.
37 languages spoken in our schools. I mean, we're working, we're moving forward. We just had a work session on public gardens, and some of these marginalized community people are actually moving forward and helping their food issues by gardening and using our city parks. There's so many things that we can do, but we're going to continue to work to protect those people, protect all of our citizens, but especially the most vulnerable. Thank you.
The answer is yes. Me being that I done been in that predicament before, I can honestly say yes, to protect everyone, of course, but those that's most vulnerable is very important. Not even that, for our community as well, because sometimes people may be in a different mindset, and if we help it beforehand, it could honestly be very much well taken care of.
So it's incredibly easy as candidates for us to come and say to a theoretical question, yes, of course I'll do that. But there are some of us who have stood up. There are some of us who have faced threats to ourselves and to our families because of what we have stood for in this chamber. My answer is unequivocally yes. Of course we need to stand up for everyone. When we stood up here in that late December evening and swore an oath, we swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, which guarantees that every citizen is treated with equality. And that means not just the citizens who look like us, not just the citizens who think like us or love like us or worship like us. It means everyone. I have fought the good fights in this chamber because it is the right thing to do, even in the face of some folks saying it's too divisive, we just need you to sit down and be quiet. No. When people are being ostracized because of who they are, because of their skin color, because of who they love, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to stand up here and use my privilege to be quiet so that I can win re-election or be more popular. I am here because, as Martin Luther King called us to do, we need to bend the moral arc of justice. And that's slow and it's hard work and it makes folks uncomfortable. But it's the necessary work if we are to achieve the full potential of everyone and the true equality of all people. So of course, if I'm duly elected for the next 4 years, I'm going to continue to not just say that I stand up for citizens, but to actually continue to do it.
Mr. Simon?
Like everybody said, obviously the answer is yes. What's the question is how do we get to a place where we're all happy, where we can reach the goals of maybe attaining these goals of not having people be oppressed or discriminated against or whatever number of reasons there are. I like to go back to my childhood when I grew up in Greenbrier. I like to say I had 57 sets of parents from every race that you could think of in Greenbrier in the 70s. And we didn't see color, we didn't see disabilities. We seen friends that we were going to play with on the streets, parents that took care of us. And I think that's a society that we all should strive for. Obviously, the answer is yes. My daughter goes to West. She's got a variety of different friends from the LGBTQ plus, different races, different religions, you name it. And my daughter, I'm so proud to say, is very receptive and open and loving to these people. And I think that's how we should all be. So it's obviously yes.
Mr. Nathan, right?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. This question, how would you ensure that the needs of all citizens are represented on the city council? City councils are responsible for the well-being of all citizens in their area.
Very good question. I think that all people are very welcome to come to the city council and voice their difference of opinion and get answers. And I would encourage them to come to the city council. I very often come here, and I don't always agree with what is going on, but I also will get up and voice my difference of opinion. And I would encourage other people to do the same thing. And it's open. Please come. If you don't agree with something, get up and voice your opinion, but do it in a civil manner. Thank you.
First of all, it's important that we engage everyone. And when we say that everyone's welcome and invited to participate in the process, because I think that's the way that you serve everyone is by engaging as many as you can. And that it takes more than just an invitation, but it takes going out. I was thinking about this when the problem came before us, that we have a lot of homeless people that are kind of hanging out downtown, just making the businesses downtown kind of miserable. And I thought about that. I said, we have to do more than just, I know we can't put that problem on the police department because the police department will arrest them and then they have to let them go because they're not violent offenders. So there has to be a way to get at the root of the problem. And so I think it's important to meet with and collaborate with the businesses to hear what they have to say, in addition to also look at how we can provide the services, for example, that these individuals need so they're not hanging out in the alley, homeless, cold, or using the bathroom behind the establishment. That is very, hurtful. And then to find out what the real problem is, to get to the source of the problem. And not only that, but bringing in community organizations that can also provide some of the services that are needed, other than just putting them in jail, but to provide the mental health support that our law enforcement now has a social worker that goes with them. Maybe we need to look at enhancing that, expanding that. But that's one example, just one example of how we involve and engage the needs of everyone. Giving everyone an opportunity to share their voice, and not just by invitation, but going out and reaching out to them to hear what they have to say.
Thank you.
I feel that within this council, you're coming into it, yes, you're representing a ward, but you're representing the city as a whole. So I think that we all need to work in conjunction together. Whereas if somebody might come to me and I might not have a level of expertise, I could talk with the other members of the council and help gain a plan of action that would be best for the city, not just an individual or an individual ward, because we're not made up of wards. We are one city. We might be categorized by geographics, but I feel that everyone deserves the same effort. And I think that with the blending of minds of different personalities and different backgrounds, it will definitely benefit the city as a whole.
We as a city council need to make people feel that they're welcome here. Their questions are welcome. You know, attendance at our council meetings are welcome. If you have a problem, contact us, because we're here to serve you. And we're here to meet your needs. And if the public feels comfortable with the city council, if the public feels that we have their back, if the public feels that we are going to represent them and work diligently to solve their problems, then we're meeting the needs of the people. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say, of course, with being council, you are here to meet the needs of everyone. But I think getting out more hands-on, and what I mean by hands-on is getting out in the community, talking to the people that go through it every single day. Like, of course, we're citizens too, but you can also come into the council meetings. But it's one thing to people that can't get into the council meetings, or people that's watching it online and they can't really voice their opinion. So if you really get out here and really communicate with the community and do things with the community and really see where the problems are so you can solve them. Sometimes, a lot of times, people don't be speaking up, but a lot of times our young community also, which we really need to reach out to them as well, like getting them into activities, getting the community working with each other. It takes a team, it takes a community, and it takes a whole. So me personally, I think I would get out, just not behind the desk, but out of the desk.
So, of course, we have the city council meetings every other Monday. We have our phones and emails that are all publicly available. But serving up here on this dais makes you, to a certain extent, public property, which means that you need to be out with the public, being seen and hearing from them. I'm very proud over the last 3.5 years to have been very, very transparent and very out in the community, whether that's a twice a month newsletter that I have that comes out, whether it's making hundreds of individual visits to folks' properties to look at and address issues, whether that is hosting dozens of constituent and other community forums to address both wide-ranging personal issues as well as specific issues of gun violence. In addition, I have been out there looking at some of the bigger challenges that we face as a community, like apartment and rental housing that is frankly unsafe for folks to live. I have been in places in this community that I wouldn't punish the worst person I could think of with, and yet there are folks living there. And you have to be out there and understand that, because it's one thing to read about it. It's one thing to see a memorandum come before us. It's another thing to sit with a mother in her kitchen as her kids play in a place that just isn't fit for human habitation, but it's all that she can afford, and she's being taken advantage of. And so I'm going to continue to do that over the next 4 years, because it's absolutely imperative that we don't just sit up here every other week and pass laws and resolutions. It's important that we are out there and understand where our community is and what our community needs.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to ask that question one more time, and the reason is I want to make sure, is this from the audience?
It is.
I want to make sure I answer it as clearly as I can, please.
How would you ensure that the needs of all citizens are represented on the city council?
Well, like everybody that Dave said earlier, everybody up here is giving part of their time of their lives and their families to be representative for the people of Waterloo. I myself want to give back to the city that's been good to me. So when somebody approaches me with a problem or a question, I'm going to do my best to answer it. I think everybody on the stage probably would say the same thing. But I think we have to make ourselves accessible. Like Mr. Greider said, our phone numbers are there, our email addresses are there. We just have to make sure that we answer the questions when we're given the questions. I think I would be more than happy to answer any question that anybody has. And if I don't have the answer, I will find the answer. That's one thing. I will not pretend to have all the answers, because I don't. but I do have the ability to get answers, and that's what I would do as a city councilman.
Right. So another good question. So the way that I approach one part of my leadership model, people often think, okay, you have the mayor, and the mayor is like this person way up here as in charge of 68,000 people, or in charge of over 61 square miles of land. But I approach it the other way, and that is that I work for 68,000 people, and I pride myself on being accessible and having an open door policy where people can walk right in. And if I'm available, I will make that time to speak with them, to talk with them. I also work with 7 other council members that have individual needs in their particular wards or in their at-large capacity that works with other people in the community that may have specific needs. So I work with the city council to be able to address that. I have the distinct honor of working with over 500 plus people in a supervision capacity that speak with people every day that are looking at cutting edge things and opportunities that we may have for our local community. I'm also out here in the community, whether it's at a Pee Wee basketball league, or if it is at a cultural event that's being held by some citizenry within our community. But really pride myself on being accessible, being out in public, working hard to make sure that people know that I'm approachable and that I work for you. And for me, it didn't take for me to be in an elected capacity. For me, this is a way of life, and it has been for a long time. So pride myself on relationships and opportunity to engage and meet people and learn about the challenges, but not just the challenges, because there's tremendous opportunities here as well.
Thank you. We're going to switch topics a little bit. The next question is, and we'll start with Ms. Smith, why hasn't the city of Waterloo replaced more conventional intersections with roundabouts?
That's how we did that one. Well, very good question. The studies are done to determine which intersections would be best for roundabouts. Some of them are very safe as they are. Their individuals are emitting little emissions, fuel emissions. And so there isn't a need at that particular time for that intersection to be a roundabout. Roundabouts are considered for those where there's the areas where it's easily congested, where there isn't a flow of traffic that is easy to move through without a lot of bottleneck and backing up. So we're doing studies on those various intersections to determine which ones are priority for roundabouts, and then we continue to discuss it on the city council. Folks will know that I'm one that I talk a lot about walking and being in areas and not wanting cars to run up on the side of the road and hit me while I'm walking. But so safety is taken into consideration, and studies are done to determine which ones are most appropriate for roundabouts, and a prioritized list of those that are.
Thank you.
Coming from not being on the city council prior, I feel that it's definitely something that is prioritized, most likely within the meetings themselves, that there is a protocol that they follow in regards to who gets a roundabout at this time and who may have to wait for a certain amount of time. However, I do think that they're very beneficial. I think that they help with traffic flow. I think that they help with congestion issues. Some people are a little afraid of them, but I think that they can be very, my mom being one of them. But they're beneficial for our community. It just stops at, like what Belinda had said, the bottlenecking of backed up traffic. I just definitely think that we can't just put all of our eggs in one basket and pick one. I think there's definitely more of a decision-making factor that goes in to what intersection is most relevant and would be most beneficial for a roundabout at that time.
The need for a roundabout is based on a number of things. And we have a traffic engineer that does an incredible job with those statistics. The travel portions, the travel times on roads are graded. The intersections are graded. The safety of the intersections are graded. If we have issues with particular intersections and we can show the data that justifies a roundabout. There are areas that we are have been successful in getting money. Roundabouts are expensive. And in particular areas, we may have to buy property. And buying property hopefully it doesn't displace people, but roundabouts are not cheap. We just authorized $140,000 for a study and design for a roundabout at Hammond and Shawless. And that's just the design. So you can imagine the burden on the taxpayers, on the local option sales tax, and whether we can afford to put it in at this time. But it's a safety issue. It's all done with data, and whether we move forward with a roundabout or not, we're going to address the problem intersections on accidents and traffic first. Thank you.
I think honestly it's really by prioritizing safety and knowing what's best. So I really think that if we be patient and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So just have faith and just believe and just because city council is a big job. So they try to do everything they possibly can. And me coming into this and wanting to be a council chairperson, I honestly want to say that give a little break on them now, but no, honestly, I think it's prioritizing and honestly knowing what's safety, and it takes a lot of research to just do something that big.
So one of the things that you learn on city council is that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to solving any problem, and it's the same with road safety. I voted for roundabouts where I thought that they made sense, where our city staff did the appropriate studies and where we could make sure that they made financial sense. I'll continue to do that. And if it doesn't make sense, if it's not something that fits the area, then we'll have those hard conversations and I'll make decisions then. But I certainly think where appropriate, they make sense, and where not, then I don't think we need them.
I know my mom hates roundabouts. I don't know how she makes it around town. Bless her soul. Hi, Mom. Roundabouts are, I think, becoming more and more common. I think people are learning how to use them. I think Waterloo obviously does the studies and determines the best place for roundabouts. And I don't see any reason why not to continue listening to the managers that do the studies and do the numbers and see where they're needed. I, for one, hope they don't put traffic cameras on them because I tend to go around them a little faster than I should when there's nobody around. So, but no, I think everybody's doing a good job putting the roundabouts in, and I think we'll continue to do that.
Right. The City of Waterloo has a traffic and engineering department located within our Public Works Department. It's also, also we have a streets department. And so as was mentioned a little bit earlier by Councilwoman Creighton Smith, that there's a science to it. And so where we review traffic patterns, we review the type of traffic that goes through a particular intersection. So there's a lot of work that takes place by professional engineers with regards to what type of intersection is most conducive. Then the city is also moving towards a zero traffic fatality types of efforts as well that focuses on complete safety in those intersections, but also taking a look at the carbon emissions that have an impact on people and has an impact on us having a clean environment. So there's a lot of safety that goes into making those overall decisions. And sometimes the council may not agree though, right? That is the latitude that the city council has. But there's a lot that goes into particular traffic patterns and studies. Like, would you want to put a roundabout where it's a heavily semi-trucked area? You wouldn't want to do that. So we put it where it makes sense, where the science can make the most safest rules. And so there's a lot that goes into the decisions that are made.
Mr. Nathan?
I'm not a fan of roundabouts. As I mentioned earlier, I owned a trucking company, and occasionally I would drive. And a lot of different states, Wisconsin's notorious for having one right after the other, one a couple blocks apart or a block apart. But I also understand it's got to be a study, a traffic study, whether it's warranted or not. And here again, it costs a tremendous amount of money to have these. Sometimes houses have to be torn down because they take up a lot of room. I think they're hazardous waiting to happen. If you ever notice when you're going around them, some people give you a false signal that they're going to turn. They do not. So you got to be on your toes pretty much all the time. And I don't like them. I don't see where it's necessary to have them. But either way, there would be a traffic study to warrant whether it's needed or not. Thank you.
Ms. Charbonnet, you get to go first on this one.
Okay.
Should we collaborate more with Cedar Falls? Can our governments do more together?
I definitely think it's needing to be on a case-by-case basis. I think that our cities have different needs, but I think in certain times that they can come together, whether it be, do we get like a bulk salt for, winter snow removal? Do we buy, like something such as a snow removal truck that could work for both Cedar Falls, Waterloo, and the county as a whole? But I don't think that it's something that we have to have for every situation. And it definitely is something that would need to be looked at as the situations arise.
Thank you. Mr. Bolson?
There's areas that we could look at for collaboration, but it has to benefit both communities. And we've had issues in the past. We were looking at regionalization of our wastewater treatment plant. Couldn't get anybody to get on board with this project. At one time, the city of Cedar Falls approached us about building a fire station on the city limits between Waterloo and Cedar Falls and staffing both trucks in there, except they wanted us to respond to Cedar Falls whenever they had a fire for extra manpower. So it's not a reciprocal type thing. We do collaborate as a city. We work with the school systems. We work with the county. We just have to have a partner that wants to work with us. Thank you.
I think in some areas, yes, if it's needed, but if it's not needed, no, because you don't want to put too much more problems on Waterloo and not too many more problems on Cedar Falls. It takes a lot to make big changes, so that's my opinion.
We had the chance a few years back to work with the Cedar Falls City Council and Mayor at the time to come up with sort of a uniform fireworks ordinance, which is one of those areas where we could find that common ground where it's appropriate. And I think there is ground for some of those conversations. We hear a lot here at council and elsewhere about the 24/7 Wall Street report and how Waterloo is ranked the sixth worst place for African Americans to live. But that's not actually what the report says. It says Waterloo and Cedar Falls. I think we absolutely have to have a conversation across the Cedar Valley about why we have that designation, because Waterloo can do all the work that we are doing and will be doing. But if we don't have a partner who's also pulling alongside us, they're just going to drag us down. In addition, we have to have conversations, real conversations, with our partners about how we can and how we impact each other. Cedar Falls is very blessed to have the University of Northern Iowa. A lot of those students rent in Waterloo, and that impacts our rental market. So we need to find those areas of common ground and do what we can.
I'm lucky enough to know some people on the Cedar Falls City Council. I think I can talk with those people, and maybe we can open up some conversations wherever they're needed. I think, like Dave said, and Sarah as well, we can share supplies, we can share knowledge, we can share a lot of things without actually physically doing things as well. And I will work to do that if and when the need arises, or when we can actually make something work. Because we're sister cities, we live right next to each other, our families, our businesses, they travel back and forth. We're basically one city. They're landlocked with us. They're on their west side, their north side. They've got nowhere to go, and we're our neighbor, or we're their neighbors. So I think they should be willing to work with us when the need arises.
I think it's imperative to the long-range future of the city of Waterloo and Cedar Falls that we continue to work together. Since being elected as mayor, try to do my best to open up those relationships and have that line of communication with the mayor as well. But what people really need to think of, you may live in Waterloo and work in Cedar Falls, or live in Cedar Falls or work in Waterloo. We are, no matter what we do, we are tied together, literally by the hip. But as was mentioned, yes, the relationships have to make sense for us to move in that direction. But there are a tremendous amount of committees that we're on. Just earlier today, we have our INTERCOG the Iowa Northern Council Regional of Governments, and all the mayors are within that. We have our consolidated dispatch, but we have so many Met Transit. We have so many critical areas that it's imperative for us to continue to work together. And the point I also bring is that you have to remember, yes, we compete against each other. Yes, of course, you know that happens. But we're not just competing against one another. We're competing against other regions across the entire state, across the entire country. For example, it was just an opportunity for us to be able to land a huge investment in Waterloo. And there were Cedar Falls companies that were at the table to try to make this happen and make this a reality. And so we weren't just competing with other people across the state. We were competing with one other community in the United States. And so it's imperative that we understand that we are tied together, that we need to work together, and that our futures and our viability and our growth are inextricably tied to one another.
Nathan?
I agree wholeheartedly with what Hart said and so forth. There's a program out there, I think it's called 28E, that allows us to share our services back and forth with Cedar Falls. And I think it's very imperative that we do work with Cedar Falls, because I call them a sister city, because we're back to each other. And whether we use equipment, maybe a piece of our equipment breaks down, and we can take and borrow one of those pieces of equipment until ours get repaired, and the other way around. Fire services, I think, can be very, very essential, that we, when we need help, we can call on Cedar Falls. Cedar Falls can call on us, and I think that's happened. Now, with the 20, I think, like I say, I think it's 2080, if not, it's 2060, and so forth, that lets us do all this stuff. And I don't know if they've, how much that has been used in the past, if any, but as mayor, I would open up that opportunity and go over and talk to the people in charge of Cedar Falls and see if we could get something worked out so we could work together and instead of working opposite of each other.
Well, whether we like it or not, we're being viewed as one city. The 24/7 report said the Cedar Falls and Waterloo, Cedar Valley, we say, is the worst place in the top 5 of places to live for African Americans. And so we have the capacity to enhance one another by collaborating. Where we're strong, we can gird them up. Where they're strong, they can gird us up, and we can collaborate in that way. We share residents. We individuals that, as someone mentioned, work in Cedar Falls, live in Waterloo, students, vice versa. Students live in Waterloo, go to school in Cedar Falls. Students are being transferred from Waterloo to Cedar Falls, even in K through 12, through open enrollment. So we share so many. We share residents. We share, and my hope is that we will share common goals and ambitions, because our hand is being forced in somewhat, because we're being viewed as one city, and it behooves us to work together on a number of issues that can improve the quality of life for all of us.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Boson, you are first answer, okay?
Great.
What is your opinion on allowing Waterloo to vote on a city manager council form of government?
Well, I expressed my opinion at the last debate, and I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of bringing on someone that has a college degree and a proven track record running a city, not someone just right out of college. I think that our success as a city, Mayor Hart has been here for 8 years. Our success in the city is based on the next election cycle. But one of the advantages of having a city manager would allow our mayor to go out to different areas, different states, when we're trying to recruit businesses and industry into this area, and be our face, be our voice out there. He already sits on a number of national committees and represents a lot of mayors. He does a great job, and I think we should utilize those talents and let him do that type of work and have someone else that has a proven track record to manage the city and to manage the department heads. Because to do what he does on a day-to-day basis and to come in and try to manage 561 full-time employees, and you're dealing with a large number of part-time employees, and you're dealing with $75+ million budget. And then imagine if the mayor wasn't here tomorrow and someone comes in with no experience, and what is on that person's plate to try to get up and running. Because, even on the city council, it takes time to learn the job and to get up and running. So as I said, I'm in favor of a city manager. I'm in favor of allowing our mayor to get out there nationwide and promote this city and promote economic development and bring business and industry into the city of Waterloo.
Thank you. Mr. Powell?
I'm actually in favor of it, and it's not because Mayor haven't did a good job. It's honestly because I feel like it'll give him a freedom and a freer space to do a lot more for the community. And honestly, it'll give him some time to work where he's more needed at, and give him a free space of that, and somebody that really know what they're doing and, got that time and to do literally that focused job and that focused study, then that'd be great.
I'm an unequivocal no on a council manager form of government. And the reason why I'm an unequivocal no is because it just adds another layer of bureaucracy that citizens have to navigate in order to get their questions answered. So instead of there being a central person in a central office that can communicate with staff, that can communicate with council members, there's an additional layer of bureaucracy. There's a bureaucrat running the vision for the city instead of an elected official. I firmly believe in small d democracy, which is that the people should have a say in the vision for our city. I think that with mayoral terms of 2 years, if folks don't like what's happening, they absolutely have an opportunity to make a change in how that vision works. And if they do like it, well, then they can keep that same person. I also believe that for local government to function best, it has to represent the people here. And I don't believe that just hiring some out-of-state expert for hundreds of thousands of dollars to come and tell us what the best practices are is necessarily the best thing for Waterloo, because it may not fit our culture, our traditions, our dynamics. And so I would not be in favor of a council manager position personally.
Mr. Simon?
So having a city manager would probably bring us some consistency from term to term, like David said. Give us a chance to have somebody that can set goals for the city, pre-plan equipment that's going to be needed for the first responders, and so on and so forth. Having that ability to have somebody that, who I understand it, is set up by the council and has to answer to the council. So it's really not anybody that's going to be running the city without the people being able to talk to us personally and tell us, what's going on. We would have the right to control that city manager from the way I understand it. Now, I also understand that you can set these city managers up differently, and I think it's going to take a referendum in order for the people to approve this. This isn't something I think that just comes by naturally. I think you have to be educated on it, find out where it's successful, how it's successful, and if the people want it, I don't see how we can stop it. So I really don't have an opinion. I think it's going to depend on what the people want, but there are advantages and disadvantages. So I think we just have to let the people decide on that subject.
I believe that the highest level of leadership within a city or a public body needs to have accountability to the public. Yeah, I understand the conversations about continuity. When I started this job, there were, I think I had 22 to 25 direct reports. Since we have, over the last 8 years, we've created division managers. There's planning that goes on with the city. There's operations and things that are happening with the city. So I am not in favor of a city manager, but ultimately it will not be my decision. It'll be one that's of the public. But the thing that keep in mind, the job that I have is very demanding, but very manageable in the structure that we have now. We have incredible department heads that are experienced, and we have a mayor currently that is experienced. So I am not in favor of it as of this moment. Ultimately, it may be the citizens' decision. But just because you're a mayor doesn't mean that, or you have a mayor without a city manager doesn't mean that you're not able to run a 560 plus organization, or that you don't have backgrounds or degrees or those types of things. But I believe that the highest level of leadership for the public has to have direct accountability to the citizens. And then also, there's also some examination that needs to take place. There's currently 7 council members, and you have an elected mayor. What does that mean to citizens? Is that the mayor comes from the city council and you have no elected mayor? And so before we get to all of those particular areas, I believe that the highest level of leadership needs to be accountable directly to the public without the bureaucracy.
Mr. Jacob?
I can see pros and cons to both sides of having a city manager and maybe something like an administrator. A city manager would bring a lot of expertise to the table. He's highly trained in running the city. He would be accountable also to the mayor and to the city council. The city administrator, I also understand, would be accountable to the mayor and city council. One of the things that I would question is what's it going to cost to have a city manager? Is the city manager going to come in here? Is he going to be out of town? Is he going to be in, if he comes from out of town, long ways away, is he going to spend his time here in Waterloo, or is he going to be spending his time and doing things online in some other city? So, but I'm also wanting to listen to what the people of Waterloo want and go with their wishes. If it's a city manager, it'll be out there for a referendum. The people will take and decide. Thank you.
Definitely no. I believe that the mayor or the person who is responsible for the city needs to come from within within the people, not only to be held accountable, but to be able to understand their issues, their concerns, to be a part of the solution as well. So definitely no. I was also making some notes here. I thought about where's the money going to come from. We're talking about trying to reduce the property taxes of folks and then to add a city manager. How much will that cost? Will the city manager be disengaged from the people because it's more of a bureaucratic position? So those are the kinds of things that need to be considered. And in addition to that, will the people have a voice or have a role in deciding who that individual is and getting rid of that individual should that individual not play out? If you're hired as a city manager, no, that doesn't happen.
I feel like what many people had mentioned, that there's pros and cons to both. I definitely think that having someone who is specifically trained in this area, who could bring in the background, with budgeting, with, adequately leading cities would definitely be a benefit. But I also see where we have come with having our mayor currently. So I think that there's definitely pros and cons to both, but ultimately it would come down to the citizens and their decision to vote on whether they want to have a mayor remain in the leading role or if they would like to have an administrator.
believe this is going to be our last question. We will start with Ms. Chappelle. Council members are assigned to be liaisons to boards. As a as a council member, what has your attendance, what has been your attendance rate? Or if you aren't on council, how do you plan to fulfill this duty?
100%. I feel like I'm gonna be 100% in. Like I really have a lot of time on my hands to actually be into the community and getting to know the community a little bit more. And honestly, I got a fresh view. Like me coming into Waterloo and not being from Waterloo and just looking at the perspective of others and looking at things. Like, of course, you could be from a place, but you also could be blindsided from being from that place also. But what I mean by that is you could be somewhere and you cannot be open-minded to new things or be closed-minded to new things. So me personally, I think I'll be 100% hands-on because that's how I would want to be welcomed into a city, and that's how I would want to be if I'm living in the city.
So being a liaison to a number of committees, including as vice chair and chair of a couple of them, it's an incredible opportunity to get to work with city staff and the public advisory boards that make them up. It has helped move policy forward. It has opened up avenues of communication. I think it's one of the sort of unsung parts of being a city council member, but I definitely think it's really key and critical to understanding how government really functions on a local level. We often see the council and mayor get coverage in the local news, but a lot of the work is done by these departments and these advisory commissions. So it's a really big part. I've been very proud to attend meetings my last 4 years, and I'm looking forward to doing it for the next 4.
Simon?
I would be extremely excited to sit on as many boards as I possibly could. I'm never at home. I love to go out into the city and do stuff. So this gets me excited. I mean, bring it on. I appoint me to wherever you want to appoint me. I love talking with people. Business leaders. As a small business owner, I like talking to people. I like listening to what they have to say, their ideas. And what better way to do that is to be on being a liaison for these boards and helping them be a contributing factor to the city of Waterloo. So I would love to do it. I can't wait. It'd be awesome.
Just so people understand that may be looking, the city has numerous boards and opportunities, and some of it we have a lot of local people that serve on these boards, but council members are designated to serve on particular boards as well. So it's very important to hear the voices of the department heads. If they don't make a meeting, please they communicate with the department heads to make sure that they're abreast of everything that's happening within those particular committees as well, or departments. And so it's critically important to be involved and be engaged, but not just be engaged in some of the city activities, but also being a member in the public and participating in some of the various committees as well. But it's very important the department heads really depend on the input that our liaisons give, and it is one of the greatest things that you can possibly do to be able to serve this community.
Mr. Nathan?
I attend numerous council meetings. I would say the council does an excellent job of attending. I'd say they probably got 98% or even higher than that of attending any and all meetings. And as it's been said, they also have a responsibility of attending different boards and so on. And they bring a lot of expertise back to the public when they're sitting in the chair here at the council. And they got to be very proud of the record of sitting here and what they do. And I hope they continue doing so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely, it's important to serve on the various boards and commissions and committees to keep our hand on the pulse of those committees. For example, the needs of the Veterans Hall Commission, for example, may not be heard without a direct connection to the capacity that it is, where I can then share with the mayor, who can share with me, and I can share some ideas with them. And so it keeps me close to the people, close to the heart of the people. Also, too, not only does it do that, but it spreads the work out. So the mayor isn't doing all of it because we're doing our part of it. So that helps, and then we can also make sure that he has the information that he needs. And so definitely, I'm not only excited to serve on the ones that I am on now, but I know that there are others that I'll be able to serve on, and not just the ones that have something to do with my training and my expertise, but others areas where I can expand my knowledge base, expand my uh, my reach as far as meeting with people and hearing their concerns. So definitely.
I definitely think that it's something that is important for council members to be a part of. As I currently sit on the board for Cedar Valley Hospice, I definitely have had to be flexible in those times, whereas when I had started a new job, it was different hours, whereas now there's times I go to Zooms rather than being there in person, but they're very accommodating and we work around that to make sure that I'm present and able to help. I definitely think that with the amount of people that we have on the council, it's definitely good to have more eyes and ears on different boards to be giving different perspectives as well. Kind of going off of what Belinda had mentioned of, there's areas that we're all more knowledgeable in than others, whereas we can bring different things to the table that might not have already, been brought up prior.
Thank you. And I believe part of that question was the attendance.
Yes, what
Thank
has your attendance rate been?
Well, I'm proud of the boards and commissions I sit on. I sit on 7 boards and commissions. I sit on Leisure Services, the Waterworks Board, the Library Board, Planning and Zoning, Board of Adjustments, Emergency Management, and the Black Hawk Gaming Association. Every one of them is vital, has a vital function in what we're doing in this city. And I feel that my representation on that board, and then also supporting that board when the board brings something before this council, I believe I have an incredible track record with that. As far as the attendance on boards, up until today, I've only missed 1 board meeting in 3 years and 8 months and they meet monthly. And some of our board meetings are an hour, some of our board meetings are 2.5 to 3 hours. So it does require a tremendous amount of time and tremendous amount of equipment. And as of today, I've missed 2. And I can honestly say, because of on the Waterworks Board, Mr. Foyce and I evidently missed the memo that the meeting is always on the 3rd Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it got moved to Monday. And so my track record just got shattered today, but I'm proud of the boards I serve on. I thank the mayor for assigning me to these boards, because I felt that I've contributed to each and every one of them. I moved over from the Grout and the 2 years ago to the library. And what I've learned about these departments and what they have to offer, I have so much respect for the people that work in these areas, and I'm just happy to be part of all of these boards and commissions. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna pick on you again, Mr. Boson.
Okay.
Okay. We're going
My
to
turn?
do our closing statements, and we're going to start with you, and then we'll go counterclockwise.
Well, isn't this exciting?
2 minutes for closing statements.
Well, as far as my closing statement, thank you again. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for moderating. Thank you for the people that came in person to see this. Thank you for the people that are watching at home or going to watch at a later date. I feel that I've represented this city well in my first term as a city council person. And as I said earlier, I've devoted over half of my life to this city, and I will continue to devote my time and effort and all of my energy to the citizens of Waterloo, as I have in the past 38 years. I'm proud of my work on the council. I'm proud of the fact that I respond to all of my emails and phone calls. I'm proud of the people that seek guidance and counsel from me. And I'm also proud of the fact that I have a number of people that will contact me on a regular basis if they don't understand something. And I tell people, if you don't understand the agenda, if you don't understand something that's on the council, call me, email me, because I'll get back to you, and I'll do my best to work through these issues. But again, as I said, I'm running unopposed. So I look forward to the next 4 years. I look forward to working on the challenges that the city has, and try to come up with some areas that we can work through this to benefit each and every one of us, not just all of our citizens, but also, as we talked earlier, our marginalized population, so that we can work through a lot of the issues that are going on each and every day. Thank you.
I again want to thank everyone involved in tonight's forum for their efforts in making this evening successful. I'm excited for the possibility of rolling up my sleeves and seeing where we can take the city of Waterloo in the future. I'm committed to working hard to gain and maintain the trust of the Fourth Ward, not only as a council member, but as a resident, as an individual who sees what goodness that our neighborhoods and residents have to offer. I thank you for your time this evening and ask you for support on November 7th as you commit to the better choice for change.
I'm excited to continue to see the growth of the city. So most definitely, I believe that I'm the one to continue to represent Waterloo and Ward 4. I am easily accessible. I'm entreatable. I have individuals and organizations and foundations, committees that are willing to work with me on a number of different issues. I hear the voices of the people from the various perspectives, and I am a learner, a lifelong learner. I believe that we can always learn something unless we're dead. I also think it's important to continue to learn and to grow. I must say that I feel that I have the foundation in this city to make a change because I am trusted. And people do feel that they can talk to me. And I am open to talk to everyone, and I have been open to reach out and to talk to everyone and to hear the needs of the people, and then to try to meet those needs or minister to those needs. So most definitely, I believe I'm the best candidate. I just started this job, and I'm really loving it. But it is hard work. It's not easy. It's hard work, and it does take having a compassion for people and having empathy for people. So definitely, and I've practiced that my life long, ever since I've been here. I've worked hard and tirelessly for the people, and definitely in working for those who are disenfranchised and marginalized. That's just how I work.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Wayne Nathan, I'm going to reiterate some of the things that I said earlier. When Mayor Hart took office, the property tax asking was 16 point per thousand, and it's now 19.75% per thousand. Our city bonding debt at the time was 90 million, and today it is set at $151 million. This is $61 million increase since Mayor Hart has taken office. Can we afford to keep Mayor Hart in office? The people must decide. I will do my best to be a better steward for the citizens of Waterloo. Another issue is on the ballot, you will see, is a referendum where Mayor Hart and some city council people want to take 20% of the 1% option tax and move to the general fund. 1% option tax is to be used for road replacement and repair. The city receives between $12 and $13 million per year that is supposed to be used for replacement or repair. I strongly urge a no vote. Again, I strongly urge a no vote. Let's keep the 100% for road replacement and repair. Waterloo has a number of streets that need to be replaced or repaired. Another issue I run into is with community development, runs parallel with tax increment finance district, better known as TIF. In a TIF district where existing business and new development are given sweetheart deals and do not pay property tax until their 18, 19, and 20th year. Therefore, this causes a homeowner to pay a higher property tax. And changes need to be made where the business in the TIF district start paying property tax at an earlier time. When you go to the ballot, vote Wayne Nathan for mayor. I'm up to the task. I've had prior experience for business. I know what I'm doing, and I will stand up and be a voice for the citizens of Waterloo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan.
All right, thank you so much to the NAACP and the League of Women Voters for this tremendous opportunity to talk a little bit about our passions, what we believe that we have to contribute to the city. So very grateful for this opportunity. As I mentioned earlier, Waterloo, 68,000 people, And as mayor, I've tried my best to make sure that I've worked for every person, whether we agreed or disagreed. And being mayor for the city of Waterloo is more than just sitting up taking pot shots about what you believe should happen, but it's actually having the correct information so you can point out facts to people. The fact is, I inherited a consent decree. It costs $100 million, close to be able to fix the sewage problems that have been left. When you take a look at some of the roads and the bridges that we had within the city and all that we wanted to do with our infrastructure, it takes dollars to be able to do that. And to tell the public to not vote in support of the local option sales tax, giving 20% to property tax relief, but have a whole session about how property tax have increased, to me is contradictory, and it's something that a mayor should not do. You need to support the bond referendum because that's going to help us to be able to lower the tax rate. It was mentioned a little bit earlier that the difference between Waterloo and some other surrounding cities is that they use local option sales tax to be able to work on property tax relief. And that's what citizens have been talking about, and that's what we're going to do. Being the mayor of City of Waterloo is making sure that you have over 500 plus employees, making sure that the basic needs are met for them to have viable careers and opportunities to be able to transform the city. Being the mayor of the city of Waterloo means that you build up relationships all the way from the NAACP to the WDC to Intercog and all across this entire city. And those relationships are important. And it also requires having a vision of the future. And that's what I plan to do for the next couple of years. And on November 7th, and also you can vote early now, please support Mayor Hart for the
Mr.
city of
Hart.
Waterloo.
Thank you.
I want to thank again all the individuals that were involved in putting this forum on. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself to people that don't know me, let you know that I'm just a regular person that grew up in this town and loves this city. So with that, I think it's something I need to say. Since I started campaigning the day after July 4th, I've been knocking on hundreds of doors and talking to hundreds of people. And I listen to those people, and the most frequent topic that comes up is divisive politics. And what is my agenda? That's the two things they want to know. Is why is the city so divided, and what is my agenda? People fear a city councilman may once again bring up a proposal of some kind of city ordinance that will divide us. I don't believe the city needs divided. I think we need to be united. I will make it as clear as possible. I will not bring national divisive politics to city government. I will take care of the city of Waterloo first and foremost, and the people, and respect what they need and what they want. My only agenda is just to be a voice for the people. I will strive to build our communities and neighborhoods, support our first responders and city employees, and use common sense business practices to spend our money wisely and to attract new people and jobs to Waterloo. A vote for Steve Simon November 7th is a vote to grow and unite, not to divide the city I love, Waterloo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
So I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the NAACP and all the constituents for their questions. It's very clear tonight that we have heard from politicians who will promise you things, like promising to protect everyone in the city. And then they will come out in that same forum and tell you, no, we're not going to do that because that makes some people that they identify with uncomfortable. Let's be clear. If you want to elect a politician, I'm not your candidate. If you want someone who's going to let people who are oppressed, who are abused, who have not been allowed a seat at the table to have power, then I'm not your candidate. If you want someone who's been endorsed by some of the most divisive former members of this council and other members of the community, I'm not your candidate. If you want someone who is going to take on the challenges that face Waterloo in a real and open-eyed way that lifts up the community for all of us, not just for some of us, then you should vote for Grider November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grider.
I just want to thank the NAACP for having this event and the League of Women Voters. Tonight has very been much a great experience, and I honestly want to say just vote for me because I'm the best at what I do. I'm a hard worker. I'm very devoted at what I do, And honestly, with this time of getting out working, and I got so many no's and I got so many yeses, but it was crazy because I really didn't have nobody here because me and my family, just me and my husband and my kids are here. So it was really hard work. Like, it was real devotion. If I could continue to do that now, then I know I could do it for the future. But honestly, just getting out and meeting people and getting the perspective of the community was great. And I honestly feel like if you vote for me, I will continue to do just what I say I'm gonna do. I'm not the type of person that go all the way around the world. I'm a straightforward person. So what I say I'm gonna do is what I'm gonna do. And it may not be a long speech, but it's the speech that you need to hear. I'm the person you need to vote for. You get out early and vote, or you get there November 7th. And we're gonna have a lot of fun here in Waterloo. We're gonna make a heart out of a home.
Thank you, Ms. Chappelle.
No, a heart out of a
Just-
home, not the home, but a heart out of a home.
Just a few
I said
things.
it right. Look, I said it my way. Okay.
Just a few things in closing. We have 6 questions that we were not able to ask just because of the time limitation. And if you would like, I will gladly type these up and email them out to you so that you know what constituents are thinking about. If that's okay
Yes,
with
please.
everyone, I will do
Yes,
that.
please.
And I just want to reinforce what other people have said. Vote early. You can go over to the election office tomorrow and cast your vote. You can request an absentee ballot. And if you are not registered, please see me afterwards and we'll make arrangements for that to happen, or if you know someone who's not registered. I want to thank the audience for coming tonight. I want to thank the people who are watching on TV. But most of all, I really, really want to thank the candidates. So let's applaud our candidates. Thank you. Good night.